Manchester United in the Europa League. Europa League. Let me tell them one time, and we say Europa League.
What's going on, guys? Good morning. Welcome back to United View. Hope everyone is doing very well. Welcome back to another edition of the Morning View. And breathe. I had to play the Europa League intro. Yesterday we had the Trinity, didn't we? And we started with the normal intro, and it was like, you know what? Got to play it. And I feel like for the last few games we've had in the Europa League, we've been going, is this going to be the last time we play it? No, there will be at least one more time that we play that Europa League theme song, because Manchester United are in the final. Yes, in the final of the Europa League. A clash of the Titans, a clash of mythic proportions, a clash so firmly in the mud. Some are calling it El Mudico. Some are calling it El Crapico. I mean, there's many a L we could use for that one, but it is Manchester United versus Tottenham Hotspur. Winner gets the Europa League trophy. Winner gets Champions League football. When is it? I think in 12 days' time. 12 days' time. I tell you what. We're going to be talking about it. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Bottom right-hand corner. As you can see right there, we're just 35 away from 192,000. V's in the chat says El Mudico. Yes. Han Solo Owen, indeed. Fleck. Flex. He's. I don't think he slept last night. He was so excited about the Europa League final. And all I will say is, got a little treat for you. Don't say I never spoil you guys. Got a little treat for you this morning when it comes to Fleck, and when it comes to maybe a little bit of a message for Tottenham Hotspur, a little bit of a message for Abby, for X, and others. Tapping Tobes, a little bit of surprise for you this morning. So click the like button. We're already at 100 likes. Let's keep it going. And be sure to subscribe as well. Yeah, a little bit. Lil Yo-Yo's in the chat says that game hit different. Show says Big Six intro from last night is an all-timer. Player Owen. I have to have a look at that as well. What else we got here in the chat? Daniel Luciano said, let's get to a quick 100 likes. We've already done it. Let's keep it going. For a soloing. Come on. Stephanie Griffith says, big up 21st of May. Yes. Let's go. Let me know where you're watching it from, and let me know how you're feeling about the final. You know, when we did the match review last night, and I think some of you guys kind of saw this in sort of the immediate aftermath of the post-match, and also the full-time view when I was chatting to the members to call in. I'm kind of not speechless. Speechless isn't the right word. But I have to say, when it comes to KG the comedian, yeah, he was right. Look at last night's game, I think, is the perfect encapsulation of Manchester United this season, of this group of players, of just everything. Someone called it we're bipolar football. We're bipolar FC. I mean, because for 60 odd minutes, 65 minutes ish, the criminality that was on display, or the criminality that was being flirted with by some of these players, and KG's right, career criminals only ever get light probation. Maybe a suspended sentence, max. And they're never doing real jail time. Never. And then to win that game 4-1, 7-1 on aggregate. 7-1 on aggregate against Athletic Bilbao. Fourth in La Liga. They don't concede goals, remember, as well. They don't concede. They've got one of the best defenses in La Liga this season. We put 7 past them. We don't score goals. We've barely got a striker. Even on what we've got, he scored last night, right? So when it comes to the final, I think there is this sort of, I am feeling positive. I know people already last night were like, I'm feeling nervous and I'm feeling a bit apprehensive, and obviously so, because it's our season, and you do feel like it's such a fork in the road moment for Manchester United just for the next possibly like 3 or 4 years, maybe even longer. You know, one direction is finishing 14th in the Premier League, no trophy, no European football at all next season, just complete disaster. And the other direction is winning a European trophy, being in the Champions League, having a greater pool of players to pick from next season in terms of who we're going to buy, having more money. Like, this is such a fork in the road. But the reason I'm optimistic and feeling a positive is because these players in that final, they could absolutely do the exact same thing. They could stink it up for 80 plus minutes. Of course they could. And they could still win the game 4-0. That's what they've been doing in Europe this season, right? That's what they have been doing in Europe this season. And then I know there's the other part of it going, oh, we've never beaten Ange. We've played Spurs 3 times. It's been the 4th time we've played them this season. We've lost all 3 times. But it would be peak Man United and peak history of the Tottenham. Of, yeah, they beat us 3 times, but not when it mattered. When it truly matters is in Bilbao. When it truly matters is the Europa League final. When a trophy is on the line. When Champions League football next season is on the line. That's when they show up. Because again, that's this group of players. For the large majority of the season, they won't show up. But just when you think, oh, they're definitely not going to show up tonight, they will. That's why they drew at Anfield this season. That's why they knocked Arsenal at the FA Cup at the Emirates. That's why they beat Man City at the Etihad. Just when you think, oh, these criminals, what are they going to do? That's what they do. So I'm feeling a bit optimistic. We've already played in the Bilbao Stadium with one of our best, results of the season, 3-0. So obviously there'll be nerves as we get closer. Obviously there'll be trepidation. I'm still feeling very, very anxious about the KG that comedian situation, which when Flex is back, we will have serious discussions because I'm still not happy about it. I know KG's doing the other guys, I'm a peacock, you've got to let me fly, even though peacocks don't really fly kind of vibe there. And he said he's going to go to Bilbao. Him and X are going to be there. That makes me nervous. I'm not scared about Tottenham. I'm not worried about Tottenham. I'm worried about KG leaving the country. I'm worried about KG not being on the match view. That just can't happen. Like that cannot happen. Everything is on the line. I get you want to have a moment. I get that you want to go and experience something great, but you've got to put your ego to one side, and you've got to, this is Man United's future we're talking about here. As Courtstar says there, Owen, KG's not been in a stadium for a win in over 2 years. I mean, I used the maths before. Okay, Manchester United in the time that United View has been a thing, right? United View has been a thing since 2021. 2021, it's been a thing. Okay, during that time, Manchester United have reached the Carabao Cup final, the FA Cup final, and the FA Cup final again. Right, this would be the 4th one, the Europa League, but 3 finals. 2 of those finals, Manchester United have won a trophy. 2 of those finals, KG the comedian has not been in attendance. That's 100% of the time that KG isn't there, Manchester United have won a trophy in the final. This one, and it's appropriate to be the middle finger, KG. This one, right, this FA Cup final here, KG the comedian was in attendance. This one, Manchester United did not win a trophy. They lost the final. So also, 100% of the time that KG has been in attendance for a final, Manchester United have not won a trophy. Right? Don't go, win, go, lose. Don't go, win, go, lose. On top of that, This one here, this season, KG was at one of the Spurs games. He was at Old Trafford when we lost, what was it, 3-0 or whatever it was that day. He was there. I think the fan view's still up. He was Ten Hag out. That was the day. We can't allow this. We can't. We cannot. We cannot do this. So I think there's going to have to be wider conversations to be held. I don't know if, on his channel at some point there are going to be more, I feel like there's got to be sort of a light pre-trial hearing, perhaps. He might go with a motion to dismiss. We might go with a motion to proceed. I feel like this is going to get very, very, very law and order-ish. I mean, because the ramifications of what he's preparing to do, it could be. But that's something that's something that we need to figure out. Kristen says, bring forward the UV versus the People court case. Well, that's still happening. That's still happening at the end of the season. And the reason why we did leave that, the reason why we left that is because the charges that are against Flex, remember, too, are about him telling Ruben Amorim he needs to change something, maybe switch to a back four, etc. Well, the reason that was pushed back is, depending on what happens in the Europa League, Flex may either be proved right or proved wrong. If we win the Europa League, touch everything, pause. But if we win the Europa League, then Flex is going to be on serious charges, because if Ruben Amorim would have changed something, we wouldn't have won the Europa League. If we don't win the Europa League, then it might be a case of, see, told you, should have changed something. We might have won the Europa League. So that is still happening. Don't worry, that is still happening. Post-season, the People versus UV, maybe there'll have to be some kind of merger. Because I think what Flex could do as a very legitimate defense if Man United don't win the Europa League is, well, we would have won the Europa League had it not been for KG the comedian attending it. So this probably has got even bigger. And the implications, I mean, that court saga, that could, as Compost says, that could go all summer. It really, really, really could. Which is, I hope you guys like Court TV. There's going to be a lot of it probably coming in the summer. We've already got over 700 people watching. If you haven't already, click the like button. Let's see if we can get to a quick 300 likes. We're currently at 233 likes. Be sure to subscribe, get your super chats in as well. The question on the super chat goal for this morning is, will Man United win the Europa League? Simple as. You don't necessarily have to answer that question, but still, you can get involved, see if we can hit the super chat target as well. Let's talk about some players. Let's begin by talking about Mason Mount. Let's talk about this, guys. And you let me know in the chat. Did Mason Mount, did he arrive last night? Is that a turning point moment for him? Or is it, look, it's been 2 years since he's been here. That was his first goal at Old Trafford, his first goals at Old Trafford. All right, let's not get too carried away here, because I wouldn't even be too shocked if he's still not going to be available for the final because of an injury or something like that. But you did feel like that was a big moment last night for Mason Mount. And what I do want to do, actually, not only give credit to Mason Mount, obviously, but I would also want to give credit. And I can't even believe I've kind of feel a bit sick, to be honest, saying this. But I do want to give credit to the Manchester United medical team. I want to give credit to Manchester United medical team because Mason Mount, he got injured at that game against Manchester City. That was December, wasn't it? I think it was December, early to mid-December. And I was, that's it. He's done, finished. He's getting injured again. Salim. Don't see him for ages. And then he has been technically available and back for a while now, actually, hasn't he? What, at least maybe a month, maybe longer, actually. He's been back for a little bit, and there has been this why is he not playing? Why is he not starting games? Or he can only come on for 20 minutes. He can only do this. He can only do that. Clearly, they've been taking their time with him, and clearly they've been managing minutes, trying to protect him as best as they can. And look, the difference last night, because what really changed that game last night was the ability to bring on players that, and I can't even believe this is a real sentence at Manchester United, but the ability to actually be able to pass the effing ball. Because for 60 odd minutes in that game, some of the sort of technical levels on display from Manchester United was awful. I mean, I think there was a period of time in the second half before he got substituted off where Manuel Ugarte for about 20 minutes just did not complete a pass. He attempted to several times he attempted to complete a pass. He just couldn't. I don't know. If you watched the match for you last night, I was losing my ever-loving mind at points because it was getting, when something go, well, it's beyond comical now. A couple of misplaced passes. That's funny. 10 in a row. Continuous turnover. I just like this is match fixing. Like it was that bad. It was that blatant. And then you have the ability to bring on Mason Mount, pass the ball. Amad can pass the ball, but also he's got end product, got actual composure on the ball. Luke Shaw, bring him on. Obviously, we know in terms of the fitness, but technical ability, vastly superior than what we had on the pitch. Credit to Ruben Amorim. It's one of those catch-22 ones with the manager, isn't it? Do you praise the manager for maybe picking the wrong team at the start, or do you praise the manager for making the right subs? I don't even necessarily say the starting 11 was the wrong team, because I do think after how they played last week, you did half the job. You deserved the opportunity to finish it. But he made the subs. He made the right subs at the right time because they changed the game. We looked like a completely different team. Just of having that ability to be able to pass the ball and take better care of the ball, take control of the ball, play under a little bit of pressure, actually be able to play out of the press. Because suddenly, when we could take care of the ball, things start to open up, things start to change. And talk about how goals change games. The timing of when Mason Mount gets that equalizer. And this is why these players are criminal, because suddenly when it's 1-1 and they realize, all right, we're in the final now, breathe, they can start playing again. They can start playing free-flowing football, no problem. Yeah, we can pass it to feet now, not an issue. The first goal from Mason Mount, obviously I know a lot of people will talk about the last one and from the halfway line, but that turn and finish, I actually mentioned it. It reminded me of the Makeda goal against Villa in 2008, was it? The little big turn, and then you kind of just walk onto it. You'd have the sort of arc, walk onto it, wrap your foot around it, get him in the bottom corner. And it's a massive, massive, massive moment, not only for United, obviously for him. I think there's a real question now, and this was the conversations we were having on the full-time view. There's a real question of, all right, then who does start? What that final lineup, what does that look like? What does that final lineup look like? Do you take now Garnacho out and put Amad in? Do you go, Bruno, actually, I probably want you a little bit deeper against Casemiro in the middle. Does that mean Ugarte's out? Do you have Mason Mount in the 10? Or does Ruben Amorim go, look, I know Ugarte, stinker last night, particularly passing, was absolute stinker last night, but it's a European final. It's not about, yes, it's about the 90, but you've got to manage the game properly. You could have Ugarte and Casemiro on for 45, 50 minutes. Then, like you saw last night, then you bring on a bit of flair. It's about how you finish the game, about not necessarily just starting it. Obviously, when it comes to the back three, you probably would hope maybe Lindelof won't be starting that one. And that's when you can have maybe De Ligt be back. So I think that starting lineup now, I think is going to be a real interesting debate until the day off, because there's going to be a lot of arguments for and against, particularly that the midfield 2 and the 2 10s. That is going to be really interesting to see what he does. And then obviously we'll get onto wing backs and stuff like that in just a second when it comes to obviously Ahmad and what's the best position for him. Where should he start? So there are a lot of different and interesting points for that one. A lot of interesting points. We're already up to 300 likes. Big up to everyone. Let's see if we can get to 500 this morning. That would be great for a solo show. We're rising in terms of views at the moment too. We're nearly at we're closing in on 900 viewers. So if you haven't already, be sure to click the like button. It helps the algorithm. Pushes it out to everyone. Pushes it out to everyone, and gets more people involved. Gets more people watching. What people are saying here in the chat. V says, I'm just praying key players don't get injured again between now and the final. Amir says, when Mount and Ahmad entered, we'll talk about Ahmad. And Simon says, let's get those likes up, UV fam. Yes, indeed, let's get those likes up. I did say I had something special for you guys this morning. I do have something a little bit special. I mentioned a bit of a treat and a bit of a rallying cry. Of course, this is a solo show. This morning, it's a solo show. Usually, it would be myself and Fleck, my partner in crime. Obviously, it was at Old Trafford last night. And whilst he couldn't be with us here in person this morning, he does have a message for Spurs. He does have a message ahead of the Europa League final to, as I said, the likes of your Abbeys, your Expressions, Tapping Tobes, and others about just really what Manchester United is going to show up. And I think what he had to do is channel, one of the best talkers, a poet, if you will, when he was thinking about his message. Here's what Fleck had to say.
Tottenham Hotspur, you better watch out because we are come for you. Remember me tell you that. Rastafari. We are going to dish out some licks in Bilbao. Happy Summers. Expressions. Tapping Toby. The one them call Fuad. You are going to get some licks. Rastafari dreadlocks. Remember me tell you that. Oh, sorry. I'm at the Theatre of Dreams and sometimes the mother tongue slips out. What I meant to say was, we're coming, we're here, and we're real. It's European heritage. It's Manchester United. It's the epitome of English football. We've seen it all. We've won the lot. We're never gonna stop. So, remember me tell you that dreadlock. Rastafari. See you on the day up.
Rewind. Shameless.
United in the Europa League. Europa League. We tell them one time and we say Europa League. Europa.
Rastafari. Lick him up, Rastaf. Lick him up.
Yeah.
I make them know say what a Jamaican you talk to.
Do they understand that? Do they? Do they understand? Do they understand that?
Your rank. Rastafari.
So, just basically.
You better watch out because we have come for you.
Yeah. And if you didn't get that,
you'd better watch out.
So, both is what they should understand. Okay, that's what they need. Yeah.
You'd better watch out. We're real, and we are a terror, and the procedure will be parliamentary.
I think that speaks volumes. You know what I mean? I think that speaks volumes. So that's the energy that we're bringing. I don't know what energy Spurs are going to be bringing. I don't know the energy that Habby and expressions are going to be bringing. Yeah, but that's what we're bringing. Okay, and yes, for those wondering, will that video in totality be coming out on the channel? Yes, it will be this morning. Yes, it will. So don't have to worry about that. And we'll play it again at the end of the show. That's what we will do. Yeah. And if that's not worth a like, I don't know what is. Yeah. I don't know what is. And I tell you what was great with that video too. It's not only Fleck Eubank that's there, both characters, you know, patois and English, right? Because he calls himself that Eubank, doesn't he? English Eubank. It was also the it's also the Europa League theme at the end as well. I say it was, you guys were saying it last night. You were saying, look, the build up, that day, that final, it's going to feed generations. I mean, it really is. It's going to feed generations. That is. Oh my goodness me. Yes. I do want to talk about Casemiro as well this morning. Casemiro, big game hero. When it comes to these European games, when it comes to these European moments, the Real Madrid gene, we've spoken about it several times. The Real Madrid gene, it won't stop kicking in, folks. Yeah, it won't stop kicking in continuously. Last night, same. You know, he's trying. I mean, again, it was a shambles in. It was a shambles in that midfield for a lot of the game, but of course he's going to score. Of course he's going to make it 2-1. Of course it's a free kick, set piece, ball in the box, header, goal. It's European. That's what he does. European nights. Yes, it's not the European nights that maybe he would have hoped for at Manchester United. He's played more in the Europa League than the Champions League. It's what he does. It's what he does. And the credit for the turnaround that he has done under Ruben Amorim, it's insanity. I mean, this time last year, you've got Jamie Carragher, you know, saying, who, by the way, is on an absolute mad one this week. You can't tell us how to think whilst he tells us, you know, how to think about things is quite unbelievable. But, you know, the stuff he was saying about Casemiro, he's got to go Saudi. He's got to go MLS. You know, knees are gone. You're embarrassing yourself for your own legacy. You know, tap out. That's what you've got to do. Fast forward a year later, I mean, in certain points in this competition, he's carried us to a final. Against Leon, carried us to a final. Again, Real Madrid gene kicked in, went, no, I'm going to be winning penalties, putting crosses in boxes, last minute, do a madness. Last night, header, bang. And we've seen it in finals for Manchester United previously too. Carabao Cup final, scores goals. You wouldn't even be shocked. I would don't know. I mean, it depends if you're a betting person or not, but I would think he's got, in terms of like a goal scorer for us in that Europa final, he should be relatively short odds. I'd be surprised if he didn't score in the final, because that's what he does in the big matches, in the big games, when it matters. Real Madrid gene will kick in. Doesn't allow it. He won't have it. Europe, it's a final in Europe. All right, I'll do. Okay, I'll fix it. That's what it'll be. I'll fix it. You know, and you saw him against Leon after that late Maguire winner. He was on the floor, giving everything. He'll do the same. He'll do the same against Spurs. And it's those. That's where finals are won. It's those kind of experienced players, those key players, that they need to stand up. And that has been a criticism for us all season. I don't know how many times I've said it on these morning shows. Where are your senior players? Obviously, we focus so much on the Cobbies and the Garnachos and the Amads and these younger players, you know, teens, early 20s, and they have to shoulder the burden of Manchester United, you know, in a period, in an era of criminality. And you are looking at those senior players. You're still looking at those senior players to show up. And look, long-term future. I mean, I think he'll be here another season because I just don't think anyone will pick up that deal, and I don't think he wants to go anywhere. But if an offer came in the summer, I still think Man United probably look at it and they probably take it because, again, the finances of the deal are just mad. But whilst you've got him, I think huge credit to him because he's not checked out. He's not checked out. He really clearly cares about the club, really cares about obviously winning shit, and he doesn't need to. At this point in his career, after everything he's done in Real Madrid, you wouldn't blame him for being someone that's checked out. I don't really care. I've done everything. Like 5 Champions Leagues, you're taking the piss. I don't care. But winning Europa League, who cares? I've got this bumper contract at Manchester United. I don't care. But he does. He does care. I think physically as well. You notice him from sort of the start of the season to now. Physically, he looks to be in, considerably better shape as well than he was 5-6 months ago, I think, Casemiro. And he is just kind of showing that, once again, he's one of those players. He just needs a few games to get going. And you want to talk about first names on the team sheet for the final, he'll absolutely be involved in that. One of the first teams on the team sheet. You'd be stunned if he didn't play. Absolutely stunned if he doesn't play. And speaking of first names on the team sheet, Lenny Yoro. Lenny Yoro, probably the one player, one of the one players anyway, one of a very few players that actually started the game last night and could say over 90 minutes, one of the best players on the pitch. And there weren't a lot of those starters. There weren't a lot that you could say, they had a really, really good game throughout the entire 90. Lenny Yoro, across the 90, was excellent. And he's continued to be excellent, even in these Premier League games that we've been losing. Obviously, in these Europa League games, he is getting better and better and better. Since that Southampton game where he struggled, obviously against Semenyo, like he struggled in that one. But I saw a stat the other day, like since then, I don't even know if he's actually been like dribbled past. And he's won the majority of his duels. And you just watch him play. And obviously for the Mason Mount goal, the equaliser last night, where does that start? Lenny Yoro driving forward. We saw Leacher doing that when he was at left centre back, and we were praising him for going, look at that, he's stepping forward, technically proficient. Lenny's doing it. Lenny's quicker. Lenny's quicker and he's more dangerous. The control that he's got, he is for his age as well. In this Man United team, again, a really poor Manchester United team. He is 19 years old. He's not even 20 yet. 19 years old, and doing what he is doing. I tell you what, that is, you can start to see why Real Madrid were interested. You could see why Leo were like, no, this guy, he's top player. He is 19 and he's our best defender last night by a mile. He's been one of our best players over the last couple of months. And he is nowhere near his peak. Nowhere near his peak. He hasn't even had a full season at Manchester United. Obviously, it was a delayed start because he got injured. Think of the change that's happened since he got signed. He was signed, breaks his foot, he's out for 3 months, never plays a game for the manager he signed for. New coach comes in. He's playing a different system than what he thought he was going to be playing. He thought, I'm going to be going into a back 4. He's playing in a back 3. He's sometimes playing right centre-back. He's sometimes playing left centre-back. What his long-term future will be, maybe as he fills out a little bit more, maybe he'll become that, centre-back and sort of control the defense. But we'll have to wait and see. But the sky really is the limit for him, because the speed at which he is developing, and again, in a poor team, it's one thing to be developing in a team that's very comfortable and a team that's doing very well, but the speed he's developing in a bad team that's not getting results, and he's still standing out as going, I tell you what. And you look at that transfer window in the summer, and it's not to still overhype it, and obviously the comparison in terms of transfer windows we've had in the past, but some of those signings are starting to age better than we thought. Lenny Yoro, obviously, I know there's a lot of money for an 18-year-old at the time, but the way that one is aging, you're going, I tell you what, I think Ineos and the people that did that transfer, they were right of going, that's a market opportunity. 18-year-old. And if he's half as good as people think or are saying he's going to be, what was it, 40, 50 million? Like, it's nothing in the long term. Nothing. Because if you get 10, 12 years out of him at the top level, maybe even more, it pays for itself, that one. Absolutely pays for itself. The Xerxes one, for the longest time this season, looked like that was a bad signing. Now you're going, was it 35 million, not paid all up front? Actually, once he's now found his position in the 10, growing in confidence, that's not bad. That's not bad in terms of money. Obviously, the Mazraoui one, like 13 million. Delict, what was that, 42, 40-ish, or was it, I think it was like late 30s. So 38 into 40 million for a centre-back of his experience. Obviously he's got limitations, but we're a better team with him in it. That's not bad. The Ugarte one. Ugarte, I think we've got to have a conversation about that. Ugarte, the conversation with him is he can't pass the ball. He can't. Maybe in terms of basic passes on his day, fine. But the more you watch Ugarte, it's and you don't even need to watch him necessarily to understand this, but watching PSG in the Champions League this season, obviously against Liverpool, against Villa, against Arsenal, and that midfield three of Ruiz, Vitinha, Neves, you see why Luis Enrique looked at Ugarte and said, look, you're just not going to play. Like, you're not going to, because the technical level of what Luis Enrique is looking for in that midfield, it's Ugarte's never going to have that, and because he's just not that player. he is not that player where he's looking for three totally press resistant, technically proficient football players, left foot, right foot, one touch, two touch, no problem, like no issues at all. And that was Arsenal's way of trying to beat them in that semi-final, was let's try and bypass that midfield, because they're just, they're just another level in midfield. Ugarte absolutely has his strengths. 100% he has his strengths. I think Show said it in the full-time view last night. In terms of his ability to win the ball back, ball recoveries, winning his duels, he's in the top percentile in the world. He's been like that for years. When he was at Sporting, he was in the the most ball recoveries and most duels won across Europe. Even at PSG last season, he was still in the top percentile for that. He is a ball winner. Like he is a ball winner. And if you can somehow get people around him, I think that you're just saying, literally, just win the ball, keep winning the ball and give it. Win it, give it. Win it, give it. And you've got players around him that are better at passing, then I think that will be his role. Long term, is he going to be a first name on the team sheet starter? Maybe not. Maybe not, because there might be games where you're going to need, I need a bit more technical ability, and you can't that. Look, he is still young. I think he's younger than we kind of realize, Ugarte too. I mean, how old is he? He's 24 years old, right? He's just turned 24. So there's still years ahead of him, and there is still improvement there. So it's not to say that, that technical ability, maybe, that's never going to improve. Maybe it can get a bit better. But I think that's why, longer term, I think that's why you're looking at going, well, people are saying for the final, maybe Bruno are next to Casemiro. Maybe just because, again, technical ability. But with the extra physicality that comes with playing a Premier League team, you might need that Ugarte, because you're going to need some bastard in there. You're going to. And Spurs, they got technically proficient midfielders. Maybe you're going to need that bastard as well. So that's those different parts of it. So the criticism for him last night, I do think was justified, because his passing was really poor, particularly in the second half, really, really poor. But I'm not going to go far with the, he's just dead. It's not going to work out for him at Manchester United. He's just dead. I think, like with a lot of these players, as we've seen this season, it's all about being profiled correctly. It's all about being profiled correctly and put into the position for them to succeed based on the qualities that they have. So I'm not going to write him off, be like, he's just nothing. I think that there is a place for him. There is certainly a role for him, because sometimes you need those games when winning the ball back. And it's not to say that can't pass at all, because sometimes it does do some forward passes, and you know, he got a couple of assists at the weekend. But his role is, if he is just focused on being a ball winner and having people around him that he can then give the ball to and they can create, I think that's the way to do it. And like G says here, this is it. Ugarte is a good player, but you can see why PSG didn't want him, specifically Luis Enrique, because that just is it's a complete mismatch there. Absolutely a huge mismatch. And we did the watch along Flex and myself on the Football Flex, and you look at those PSG midfielders and you go, good grief. Like their technical ability is just so unrivaled. At points, the one-touch pass and two-touch pass that they can play is incredible, absolutely incredible. And like we saw last night, when you take Ugarte off and you put a Mason Mount on, who's obviously better at passing the ball, the technical level's higher, you do see the difference. Another one, of course, is Ahmad. I mean, sometimes, what's the phrase? You don't know what you've got until you don't have it. And actually, first of all, Chalaboy Comics put in a members chat. It's been a member for 18 months, always calling into the full-time view. Big up. Says, I bet you Casemiro has never felt emotions like he has while at United. We are a special club and he knows it. This would be his favorite phase of his career. Yeah, maybe. When it comes to Ahmad, again, you don't know what you've got until you don't have it, right? Obviously, this season, it's been a very dark season and a real bad season. And at points we've been carried by Ahmad. Just before he got injured, there was this, like, he had a couple of bad games, and maybe in his absence, not that people forgot about him, but there was this maybe a little, yeah, but you know, we've been playing badly. How, you know, he obviously he's had a good season, but we don't want to overhype, we don't want to get too carried away and what have you. Last night, he came on and we went straight away, oh, yeah, I remember. I remember what we've been missing. I remember just how good he is. I mean, like Lil Yo-Yo says, he was being overplayed, and we were getting to that stage where we were getting very, I think, over-reliant on him. Like, it was getting into Bruno territory where we're like, well, if we win today, it's because Ahmad's got to do something. Otherwise, we're just not going to win. But last night, he came on, he looked bright. I think that he obviously came on for Garnacho. When we did the match view against Newcastle, and he scored. You know, he was through on goal and he scored. And if you go back and watch my reaction to that, I was surprised that he scored. And I've mentioned this many a time. I'm now at the phase with Garnacho where if he is through on goal and it's either like a one-on-one decision to shoot, or it's like one pass away, I'm surprised if he does get it right as opposed to getting it wrong. So I'm surprised if he does score, or I'm surprised if he does make the right pass. I'm not surprised that he gets into the position, because he's really good at getting in position. That's why Amorim likes to start him, because he can play on the shoulder. Obviously, he's got pace, and he does get into good areas. And if you're playing on the break or whatever, he is a problem for defenders. He will always be a problem for defenders. But his decision-making is so erratic, and actually now venturing into predictable. Not even really erratic. Like I said, I'm now at the stage where when he missed last night, I'm not shocked by it. I'm not. And you see the difference between someone who's not great in that decision-making in the final third versus someone that is in Ahmad. For Rasmus Højlund's goal, Garnacho probably doesn't get that ball across goal to Højlund to tap in. He probably doesn't. And I know we can say, well, that's hypothetical. You never know. But there's a lot of evidence there to suggest that he probably wouldn't. You know, maybe he'd have been blocked, or he'd have, you know, just smashed it. He wouldn't have been able to roll it across. The difference between Garnacho and Ahmad can. Ahmad can. If Ahmad was through one-on-one in the first half, Ahmad scores. He's got that composure. He's got that ability to remain calm, not have a head loss in that situation. Because you look at it, the chance that Garnacho had, it's middle of the goal. I mean, the keeper is standing on the penalty spot. It's completely central. And he's dinked it wide. Not like he's dinked it over or the keeper's made a save. He's dinked it wide. That's just, again, that's a lack of composure. Because composure in that position is you just slot it past the goalkeeper, just slot it past it, roll it into the net. Even more composure is go around the goalkeeper and then just tap it into an empty net. I mean, that's really your options. So I think with the fact that Garnacho is now back, I think you can now take him out of the side for a little bit because he's been playing every game. I mean, the turnaround for him under Ruben Amorim is quite unbelievable, because this is a guy that was dropped out of the squad for the Manchester derby at the Etihad, one of the biggest games of the season for possible, off the pitch stuff and what have you, not trying in training, versus he's sitting in press conferences next to the head coach and being one of the first starters on the team sheet. But he is still young, and I think he needs to be taken out. And I do think there needs to be that conversation with him, I would hope, of just, look, half the battle is getting into those positions. A lot of people struggle to get into those positions, those areas. The fact that you with ease, that's really positive, because that's difficult to work on. Now, take a breath, composure. Just literally, what's the right decision here? What's the right pass to make? Because there was one where I think it might have been, was it Dorgu? Was it Garnacho? Cross across in the first half, ball across goal was nowhere near. It's just, it's half the battle with him. The composure just isn't there. And that's why Ahmad is so good, because the composure is there. Again, like the one for Højlund, even that goal he scored against City. Do you know how the composure and the skill that's required to still score from that angle? He's rounded the goalkeeper, but there's still a lot to do. That's the composure that Ahmad has. And even someone like a Bruno, the chance that Garnacho had last night, it's a bit similar to the one that Bruno had in the first leg, where he scored. Just put it in the back of the net, just smash it. Don't try and dink or anything like that. Just get it in the back of the net, because that's key moments. And at that stage of the game, had that been 1-1, we saw how relaxed we were when it went to 1-1 in the second half, because we knew as soon as we went 1-1, right, we're through. We're in the final. That's it. And then we started to play. If we'd have got that goal early on in the first half, who knows how we would have been playing. We certainly wouldn't have had the stress and the high blood pressure that we had at points in that second half. So that needs to be worked on. I think when it comes to Ahmad, it should just be fitness, wouldn't it? It'll just be fitness. He's had a couple of big injuries in his United career over the last couple of years. Now it's a case of wrap him up in cotton wool. I mean, he'll get a few minutes. I don't know if he'll complete a game between now and the Europa League final, to be honest with you. Might be a couple of starts just to build up fitness, but still, what a difference maker! What a difference maker! And just finally, before we do wrap things up, I do want to talk about Patrick Dorgu, because Dorgu was an interesting one last night, and I'm interested to know what you guys think. I saw someone say this on social media, and I think I think this is kind of true. They said that Dorgu is almost the epitome of a 2025 footballer, which is physically really, really good, up and down. He's pretty strong. He's pretty quick. And, for a wing back, that's what you need. But at a technical level, there's a long way to go at a technical level. Now, again, he is young. He hasn't been at United for a long time. So there's still, you would hope, place to go. Look, he's 20. So there's a lot of room for improvement, but there's also a lot of time for improvement as well. I think it's one of those ones where starting left wing back moving forward, maybe not. Maybe that there might have to be in the summer again. If you can sell like Malacia, let's have a look at another left wing back. See if we can, if there's maybe someone that's a little bit more experienced, or Harry and Matt's going to push him close. I know that Diego Leon's coming in too, but there are still ways to go. Now, I think you see flashes, obviously, because the Garnacho chance that we're talking about. Where does that come from? It comes from Patrick Dorgu's pass. So I do think he's got that in him. And I do think he will develop. Like I said, he's 20. So that there is still a long time. And I think we should learn from the Xerxes situation this season of it can take a while to settle in. It can take a while to bed in. And a player that we just think's got no qualities at all, suddenly 6 months' time, 12 months' time, 18 months' time, we see there are a lot of quality. So I think he still does need time to develop and time to get better. And I do think he will, because I think we see flashes. And again, physically, I think he's just going to get better too. The fact that he's 20 and physically we're seeing these things from him, I think that's really promising too. Give it 3 or 4 years, when he'll be stronger, quicker, and much more suited to the Premier League. I think that's going to be positive too. And look, then you guys mentioned you've got Harry Amash, you've got Diego Leon coming in, so we've got certainly options there as well. Last night, again, I think it's erratic. It's erratic, and I think maybe there might be a bit more comfort if he wasn't necessarily a starter. Maybe that would be a bit more comfort in that. But he's what we've got at the moment, and But to focus on the positives, as Sam says in there in the chat, we're 1 win away from the Champions League, and we're 15th in the Premier League, 14th, 15th in the Premier League. It is mad. It is mad. But this is what these players are. This is what these players are. This is what this team is. Again, criminals. But 1 game away. 1 game away from Champions League. And again, this is the fork in the road moment, folks. This is it. I mean, we either go one direction, which is 14th, 15th in the Prem, no European football next season, no trophies, in the mud. Or, yes, we have a bad season in the Premier League, but we win a European trophy. We're in the Champions League next season. We've got more money to spend. We've got more players that we can buy and bring in. And maybe that's the spark for Ruben Amorim. That's the spark that he needed. Get players for his system. Suddenly next season, we're kicking things off in, the European Super Cup final against the winners of the Champions League. I mean, oh my God. What a finale to a season. What a finale. Just one more time for those that didn't see it earlier on, as you saw earlier on, but we'll play it again here. Here is a message from Fleck ahead of the Europa League final in Bilbao.
Tottenham Hotspur, you better watch out, because we are come for you. Remember me tell you that? Rastafari, we are going to dish out some licks in Bilbao. Happy Summers, Expressions, Tapping Toby, the one them call Fuad. You are going to get some licks. Rastafari dreadlocks. Remember me tell you that? Oh, sorry. I'm at the Theatre of Dreams, and sometimes the mother tongue slips out. What I meant to say was, we're coming, we're here, and we're real. It's European heritage. It's Manchester United. It's the epitome of English football. We've seen it all. We've won the lot. We're never going to stop. So, remember me tell you that dreadlock. Rastafari. See you on the day.
Rewind.
Shameless. United in the Europa League. Europa League. Me tell them one time,